flat,
A flat man.
right?
What that?
That, and we made some progress last time.
Dang.
Went over a little bit of the middle section.
Oh my gosh.
So
Dang.
remember how it goes?
Oh my gosh. Woo.
Can you show me?
Yeah. Woo. That's it. Huh? Woo. Hey.
And I'm really, quite happy with how
No.
careful you are with your last chords, right? You were really listening to yourself and trying to keep the very soft, right, dying away sound, right? And it's not easy, right? It takes a lot of control to just
Wow.
get the right amount of sound, right? Sometimes, you know, the notes might not come out, right? So it depends on
Yeah.
the action of the keys, right? So sometimes it just takes a little experiment, right? You really need to feel it, right? And just takes a lot of sensitivity, right, in your touch.
Nice.
Well, I believe this would be our third
Wow.
time working on this piece, right? So
Yeah.
the very first time, um,
Wow.
we were missing a lot of left-hand notes, right? So
Dang.
we were saying this piece has a ridiculously difficult left hand, right? Usually left hand is not this involved, right? This is very, right, random, right? It's very chromatic, right?
Wow.
The interval is rather large, right, for Chopin, right? This kind of big interval, right, is not what we normally find, right? So in order to get all these big intervals in, you have to have a pivot point, right? So the E flat, right, is the pivot point, right? Once you find the E flat, you kind of use it to help you find your other notes around it, right? So you have to kind of swing your wrist left to right, right? Doing this exercise, right? So basically, can you find this, right? While you keep your E flat down. So you keep the E flat down and you basically just do this little swinging exercise between your pinky and your thumb, right? So first you want to do that and then becomes A flat, right? Right? And then, right? So now the swing becomes, well, it changes, right? So then it becomes B flat, right? Right? So it wasn't, of course, the harmony is different. So the tempo changes. Anyway,
Yeah.
so there were a lot of missing left-hand notes, right? The very first time I heard you play it.
Nice.
That's getting better. Okay,
That's
the
good.
notes are not missing anymore, right? They are there now. Now it's a synchronizing thing, right? So sometimes I think your right hand is just going a little bit too fast, and the left hand, because it's so difficult, the interval is so large. Now you see the right hand intervals are mostly smaller, right? So there's smaller intervals, right? There's a
Wow.
couple of big ones, right? This is a big one, and that's a big one, right? But a lot of them are adjacent. See, that's next door. Okay, you have a big one, and then they're adjacent, and then you have a big one, and then they are kind of chromatic. But even the big ones are always within an octave, right?
Wow.
So there was never any big interval that's larger, right, than an octave, right? In fact, all of them are bigger than the, yeah, that's the biggest one, right? Okay, there's your biggest one, right? But it's still only an octave. So my point is the right hand intervals are smaller, so they are easier to get to. So your right hand is a little bit faster right now than your left hand. So that creates a synchronization problem. So sometimes, right, it wasn't really together, right? You have to be sure. Sometimes, if I kind of play the music back, right? Like if I had recorded you and we
Wow.
use like an app, there's an app called the Amazing Slowdowner.
Wow.
The app. It's very smart. So you can record yourself and then upload your own recording to the app, right? And then you can play back what you just played at half the speed or whatever percentage, I think, right, that you want to use. So it's called the Amazing Slowdowner. So you can hear yourself playing very slowly.
Wow.
The app slows the music down for you. So if we were to do that, right, we would find this kind of thing, right? We would find this kind of like together in the beginning of the measure, and then that kind of thing. Like your right hand goes a little bit ahead of the left hand, right? You see what I mean? This is kind of out of sync.
Wow.
Now Obviously you weren't doing that on purpose, right? Your goal was to play together, right? Of course, that was your intention, right? Your intention, of course, was always, right, synchronized, right? Like I said, because the left hand is just so much more difficult, and then it's harder to find those bigger intervals. It unfortunately just is a little tiny fraction slower.
Wow.
So how do we get around that problem? Well, we have to practice the left hand more. Right? So before, right, you want to put it together, right? The word practice is different from perform, right? When we perform the piece, we just always do hands together and we try to play up to speed, right? And do everything. But when we practice, is different. When we practice, sometimes we only do one hand, and usually we should do ridiculously slow, right? So we go slow so we can really figure out exactly what our hand and our fingers need to do, right? And everything is very focused and you're conscious of every movement that you make. Okay? So that would be one way to fix the problem, right? So go really slow and only play the left hand. But it takes a lot of patience to do that, right? Because it's not very fun to listen to only the left hand. So it takes a lot of patience. Okay. Anyway, so in terms of that aspect, right, that was what we focused on in the first lesson. It was those left-hand notes. So continue to work on that, okay, by practicing left hand by itself, like I said, and slowly. And then last week, I believe we really talked about this section, right? Here, right? This section, right? Because we had kind of backwards notes, right? Your notes were not in the correct order. So again, you worked on that. So that section improved a lot. Okay? And then we did a bit of the middle section, right? Which is your typical gorgeous Chopin melody, right? Okay? And then we sort of didn't have enough time to really finish the section off, right? So today we can. All right, so today let's talk about this transition first.
Transition.
Right? So this brings us back to the main part, right? Now, I have a solution for this problem, right? See if you like it, right? You are doing all of this, right, with your right hand, which is possible, right? It's quite hard, isn't it? What I do is like right? My right hand goes da na 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 na, right? Of course, that's 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So then I'm out of finger, right? So after I'm out of finger, right? I use the left hand to play the C here. So I play the left hand on that C, and then use the right hand to play those notes. So I always give the C to the left hand. So does that make sense? The C is left hand, the C is left hand. Okay? The rest is right hand. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, left hand. 4, 3, 2, 1, left hand. 4, 3, 2, 1, turn over to 3 and then trill it. So therefore, right? It's a little bit more speed, right? Trying to turn it might not work for you, so just now whatever you want to do, right? End up doing, you want to make it sound very brilliant. You want to make it sound brilliant. You don't want to sound like stuck. Well, you do need to practice it and decide which one you want to do. If you do it all with the right hand, I just feel like it's awkward to turn, right? It's awkward to turn to the thumb, and then I think you ended up having to turn again when you're running your finger. And we are back. Now we really want to do this chromatic business, right? And then you start another chromatic. Of course, we call that a sequence. Really, chromatically challenging, right? Okay. And this reminded me just now that we had talked about another thing. I think it was the first time we worked on this piece, right? It was your avoidance of the thumb. Remember we had talked about that? Sometimes you didn't use the thumb to play the note, but it really is absolutely the best finger, right? Right? It was this one. Right? You absolutely should use your thumb for this E flat. You didn't, right? That being such a big interval, this is 5, this is right? You gotta just trust your thumb to play that. It's gotta be the thumb, right? There's really no other way around it. So the sixth note, basically, of each group, right? So the Latin pattern is this kind of pattern: low, high, middle, low, high, middle, low, high, middle, low, high, middle, right? So you got 3 notes to play: a low one, a high one, and somewhere in the middle. So the high one is always the thumb. See, always the thumb. Always the thumb. Sorry, and then always the thumb. You sometimes need to do that, right? When you don't do that, either will be a little late on that note, which has the synchronizing problem, or the quality of the note will not be the same, right? It's left hand pattern. So think about that, okay? Thumb, you feel like the thumb is such a short finger, right? Because it is compared to other fingers. So when it's a black note, your instinct is to use the second finger, right? So when you have a black note, you don't like putting your thumb there, right? So your instinct is to go for the second finger instead. But like I say, if you do that, so first of all, be harder, I think, to find, right? Thumb is easier because it's closer, right? It's like if you were to do an octave, wouldn't you use the thumb? Yes, you would. So if it's larger than octave, of course you still use the thumb. So see, the problem with this finger is then I feel like it's harder to get to the B flat. So that's another something we had talked about, right?
Nice.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right, so let's go back, right, to this middle section because there were some missing bottom notes, right?
Ooh, nice.
This is a kind of a backward left hand, right? Normally, what we want to do is low note first, and then some kind of a chord. Low note first, some kind of a chord. Low note first, right? But this is backwards. This is like you have a missing chord, and then you play the low note. Then you play your chord, low note. Play the chord, low note, right? Play the chord, low note. So the left hand figuration is backwards, right? It's not what we are used to. He normally does the other way, right? Give you a low note first, and then the full chord to follow, right? On the second and the fourth beat. Here, he switched it. So it's sometimes kind of hard to remember, right? What the low note should be. So we occasionally missed it, right?
Wow.
So, yes, you can show me, right? The middle section, and then we'll see how the transition turns out.
Oh yeah.
Great stuff. Okay.
Woohoo. There it goes. Ooh. Woohoo.
Oh, that's the F. Yep. So that one is still F, right? Now, I don't think you need to change pedal as often as you used to, right? And definitely, if you do change, remember we never lift the heel. I feel like you are lifting the heel up. I can't really see it because the camera is not showing me your foot, but because there's so much movement on your leg that it makes me feel like your heel is
Wow.
missing. Remember, we don't do that, right? You have to keep your heel of the foot stuck on the floor. Yeah, much more calm, right? You don't be lifting your whole leg up every time you change pedal. Thank you. Only the top part of your foot comes up and down with the pedal. Heel itself is intact, right? It's just on the floor the whole time. Okay. In a couple of chords, I'm not convinced that you have them all correct. This is kind of a tricky one again because sometimes he has two notes in the chord. Sometimes he has three. You cannot predict which one it is, right? Most of them have three. Most of them have three. And when it's dominant seventh, you have to be careful, like which way is it? Is it this way or is it that way? But remember, we talked about this before. He always, well, I shouldn't say always, he usually, in the dominant seventh, if there's a missing note, the missing note is in the right hand. So since the right hand is playing B natural, the dominant seventh, the left hand goes this way. And then when the right hand is playing D, then the dominant seventh goes that way. See? So the full chord is still being heard, right? So we were saying he really does know his music theory, right? So he's still giving us the full dominant seventh chord in both hands combined, right? So if you realize that, then it's easy to remember which version of the dominant seventh you use, whether it's this version or that version. But then, like I said, sometimes it's just two notes in the chord, right? And then it's back to two, here's three, and here's three, right? That one is a tricky one to find, right? I'll do it again. You read this first phrase. I don't even change pedal until here. So sometimes I just let it stay on the full measure. Sometimes I change in the middle of the measure, of course. Interesting harmony. And that's a new section. Okay? gave us another C. So you have to play the C twice.
Wow.
Okay, let me play this section, right?
Wow.
So we did, or earlier
Wow.
I did up to the end of this part, right?
Wow.
Now it comes after the beat,
Yeah.
and then it's on the beat here. See, there's two C's there, and then off the beat, still off the beat. See, I'll do that again. And then basically it repeats itself, but softer, more delicate, very delicate there, right? And then you can kind of wake up more. All right.
Woo. Wow.
Oh no, that one's together. Remember? He does it on purpose. Sometimes the C is a quaver or eighth beat, right? So it goes after the fourth beat. Sometimes it's on the fourth beat, right? So listen again. So this is the end of that first section, right? Here's another section. The C is off the beat, right? So it's on the second half of the fourth beat, right? See, it's not together with the left hand. Now listen. It is together now. Here's that. So a lot of them were offbeat.
Nice.
Downbeat.
Wow.
It's hard to remember which one is which, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah. Woo.
Lay still. Oh, that one's offbeat. So after you do that, it is off the beat and off the beat again. When can you be on the beat?
Wow.
Right here. And then it's off the beat again. Still off the beat. Wake up. Oh, two of them again. Right? Okay. Alright, so we're still working on this off the beat, on the beat thing.
Wow.
The C, you gotta think, right? Where is it, right? Okay, I know I can't remember all of this if I No, that one's together. That one is the one you finally actually can play. Very quiet. This part is very quiet. Good. Wake up. Right, you have to make sure you go together and then the second E flat between the two notes in the right hand. So together there, polyrhythm. Together here, polyrhythm. Right? So yeah, D flat can be a bit late. Wait a little bit. So it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on time, right? The final chord is late.
Wow, nice.
You see that there, right? So you do the first C first, and then you roll it. Oh, let's make sure we get this 100% right, right?
Wow.
So you know how we kind of woke up for a second, and then we are soft and sad again, and then we basically get angry. Right? So it goes C and then octave, right? So mostly single note, right? Sorry. And then there's an octave there, and then there's an octave there, right? See? Right? Now, let's do it slowly so we really get it accurately, right? Listen. Octave, single note, all single note, another octave. So altogether there's 2 octaves. No, there's no octave there. Now you're playing the first C a little bit too fast. It's not a grace note. See, it's kind of the same thing. A little bit random, right? Actually, it's not even the same length. I have said that it was the same length because you were playing it too fast, right? Now that I'm looking at the score, it's actually a longer value. The first C is actually an 8th note. It's not even a triplet. So da 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 da. It's so close, right? So I'll do it again. Be patient on this first note, and then these are all single note. This is a solid octave, and then single note, single note, single note, solid octave.
Wow.
Don't rush it, right? Okay, I think you figured out which one is solid, which one is single note. I still
Wow.
need you to play the C longer. Okay, so listen. This C is quite long, right? Right? And then after this C, you then have triplet. Okay? Okay, now let's look at the left hand. You're playing the pinky too many times. You see? So you play strings here, one note, 2 note here, 1 note. But then the hand stays there.
Wow.
Can we listen again? Now don't rush the C. Okay?
Wow.
You're getting close, right? Yeah, you are doing something random in the left hand now. Okay, listen to your left hand. It's not a very large interval. Both are very close to each other. And the finger is 2, 4, 5, right? And then you hold on to your pinky. Single C. You have 2 notes there. You have right? once again, you have three fingers. I'll do the left hand for you.
Wow, nice.
All
Wow,
of that is the
nice.
same
Wow,
in terms of what interval you choose for the second note. For
wow.
example, the thumb, you didn't use the thumb sometimes. So whatever, 3 1 2 4 1 2 5 1 2. See, that makes so much sense because that's basically a scale. 3 1 2 4 1 2 5 1 2 3 1 2 4 1 2 5 1 2 3 1 2 4 1 2 4 1 2 5 1 2. You see my point? The second note is always a 1. 5 1 2 5 1 3 5 1 2 4 1 2 3 1 2 4 1 2 5 1 2 3 1 2. Definitely that is the way to
Wow,
do it, right?
nice.
Now,
Wow,
after the thumb, sometimes it's a 2 and
wow.
sometimes it's a 3, right? But mostly 2. And then the bottom note, well, depends on the gap. It's a 3 here because it's a very small gap, right? So this is how you can decide, right? Like if you want to play the three notes together, what finger would you use? You would do that. You would do that. You would do that. You would do that. See what I mean? If you were to play the three notes together, how
Wow,
come everybody would choose this fingering?
nice.
Right? Suppose you're
Wow.
playing legato, listen. Right? Everybody would choose that finger. So 1 2 4 1 2 5 1 2 4 1 2. It is not
Wow.
usual. Okay? Yes. He's gonna use their thumb. Yes. Yes. Okay, thank you. You are doing what I said. Thank you. So another way, right? Another
Yeah.
reason, I think sometimes you didn't want to use the thumb is when your thumb is playing a Y note, you kind of bring it down to the edge of the keys, right? So when it's a Y note, you bring it down to the edge of the key. So then it was hard for the thumb to go back to the black note. That's what I mean. So don't do that, right? Because when you bring it to the edge of the key, you then are reluctant to go back up to the black note. So you avoided it. So my point is, don't bring it so far down to the edge of the key. So when it's a black note, right, you use the thumb, of course, like I said, and then when it's a white note, you still use the thumb, but you can put that thumb very close to the black note. Oh, that note right there. When you play the F, can you put your thumb near the corner of that black note on top of it? Move your thumb up. Slide your thumb up so it touches the G flat on top of it. So there's G flat, right? You're using your thumb. Now you're playing F. Your F can be right next to the G flat. Yeah, something like that. Even more closer if you could. Just slide that thumb up. So you can play the F right where the G flat. Yeah, just stay next to the G flat is what I mean. So then it's easy for the thumb to go from. Do that for me. Okay, now try to do that without moving the thumb very far at all. Do you see? Try to keep your thumb so close to the black note that really is no effort for the thumb to move from here to there. See? Rather than going to the edge, because then you have such a long way, right? So keep the thumb close to the black note. Okay, anyway. Yes, yes, okay. Both hands, please.
Wow, nice.
And let's see the more sensitive side. Sorry. Right, so it's such a large interval there, right? So I always play extra soft and slightly late, right? to show how simple the note is. I got to see Alicia now, right? But this piece is really making a lot of progress.
Nice.
So, like I said, we can pretty much wrap it up today, right? So this reminds me of the fantasy impromptu that you have already learned many years ago. Remember that piece?
I
Right?
remember that.
You do, huh? Very good. Well, see if you can
Very
do some
good.
review of that piece just to make sure you still know it, right? I'm pretty sure you do, but we haven't heard it in a long time, and you
Oh
were
my
very
God.
good at it, right? At one point. So let's see
Dang.
if you still remember it, okay?
Oh my
So
gosh.
this is your review piece, and we've been working on so much Chopin, right, in the last few months, haven't we?
Dang.
Lots of Chopin, right? So
Oh my
maybe next
gosh.
week will be a review week, okay? Just to
Oh.
see, where everything is, okay? And let's see how many pieces you remember, okay? That we've
All
done
right.
in the last few months. Okay? See you next time.
Dang. Woohoo.